Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat and today I'm going to show you how I installed these open shelves to create more storage in the corner of my guest room that was just unused wall space. Whether you need some change to your bedroom, you're looking for a solution to keep your kitchen organized, or your bathroom needs a facelift, open shelves can be a really great way to add additional storage and to style up a room. And we can all do with some extra storage in our homes, right? As you can see, I had this large empty wall space above the dresser in my guest room that I've been thinking about creating some additional storage on. If you want to see how I install these shelves, including tips to make the job easier for you, then keep watching. For more DIY inspiration, check out my Instagram at The Creative Stretch. So I measured the wall and decided how many shelves I wanted and what size I wanted them in. And since I couldn't find any shelves that fit the dimensions that I needed for this space, I decided this was a great occasion to DIY my own custom shelves. I was lucky that my best friend was able to help me cut out these pieces of lumber to the size I needed. And if you're curious, they are 70 x 30 centimeters and 2.5 centimeters thick. As you can see, I decided to go for 3 shelves on this wall, and my plan is to paint them all white so they match with the dresser beneath them. I also have these shelf brackets from IKEA that I plan to attach to my painted shelves. The brackets I will leave in the natural wood color that they come in, again to match a little with the dresser below where the shelves will be mounted on the wall. I had this paint roller from my DIY IKEA cabinet video. If you haven't seen it yet, then go check it out. I'll leave a link to it in the cards. I share a lot of tips in that video on how to do a smooth and even paint job if you're curious to learn. The paint roller is good for all types of paints and doesn't shed, so it's going to do the job just perfectly. I didn't really need to sand down the wooden shelves before painting. I just want to make sure to wipe away any dust there might be on them with a damp cloth before I start painting. And my dog was curious to see what all the fuss was about, so he stopped by for a little moment to see what I was working on. I have a simple white water-based paint that has a demi-matte finish, and it has a built-in primer as well, so it's an all-in-one. Before pouring the paint into the tray, I want to make sure I mix it really well because I've had this paint lying around for a while and it's gotten a little bit thick. In cases like this, it's a good trick to add some water to your paint to make it easier to apply and to work with. Now, I expect these raw wood shelves to absorb a lot of paint, so I'm giving them about 3 to 4 thin layers. This will even them out in color, but still leave the wood grain texture on the surface of my shelves, which is what I want. I painted all of my shelves with 3 to 4 coats of paint, leaving them to dry for a few hours in between. The next day, I installed these IKEA sand-tooled L brackets on my shelves. Now, this is where some people prefer to install the brackets on the wall first and then add the shelves on top of the mounted brackets. To me, it just made better sense to attach the L brackets to my wood shelves first and then mount them all together onto the wall. So, following the IKEA guide, I simply positioned the brackets equal distance from the sides, which in my case is about 9 centimeters from the edges of my shelves. Then I mark off where the holes are located. With the holes marked, I select a drill bit just slightly smaller than the screws, and I also measure the depth of my shelves so I don't drill through them all the way to the other side. An easy way to do this is to make note of the maximum depth that the bit should go and mark off your bit with some painter's tape so it doesn't go beyond that marking. But I just eyeballed it instead. Once I've decided the placement of my shelves and distance between them, I position each shelf on the wall, making sure it is level, and map it out with a pencil. I draw a line along the top of the shelf and a line along the outer side of each bracket, and I'll show you why I do this in a moment. To accurately mark off the holes for drilling the wall, I came up with this easy paper template solution. I take a piece of paper, however big or small, it doesn't matter, and align the corner of the paper with the outer edge of the shelf bracket as well as the top of the shelf, like you see here. These are the same two sides I drew a line on the wall. Then I use a pencil to make a mark on the paper of where the screws need to go, and then I lift off the piece of paper, placing it face up against the wall along where I drew my lines, and use my pencil again to mark off where the screws need to go into the wall. And as you can see, the pencil transfers onto my white wall and leaves a mark where I need to drill the holes for my screws. You do the same thing on the other side, of course, and now you know exactly where you need to drill in the wall. Before you start drilling into any wall, I recommend that you use a detector to make sure you don't drill into any pipes or electrical wires that could be hidden behind the wall. Since I'm drilling into drywall, I'll be using these wall anchors with matching screws to make sure my shelves are securely installed on the wall. It's really important that you make sure to get the right type of wall anchors for the type of wall that you're mounting the shelves on, as well as anchors that can hold the weight of your shelves so they don't collapse. Since these shelves are hardwood, they weigh a little more than shelves made of fiberboard, and they'll also be used to store stuff on with some additional weight, so I decided to use some metal anchors which will be strong enough to hold the overall weight. As you can see, I chose a smaller drill bit than the anchors, so the anchors have a snug fit into my drywall. I first drill a small hole in the wall, then I fix in the anchor. I also use a piece of paper, or in this case the instructions manual from IKEA, to catch most of the drywall dust. Then I screw in the screw, leaving it sticking out a few millimeters as recommended in the instructions manual. After that, I can easily mount my shelves on the wall. Before I finish, I have another screw that goes into the lower end of the L bracket for additional support. This one will be easier to mark off. I just use the screw to punch a small dent in the wall where I need to drill the hole. Then I take the shelf down, drill the hole, add the anchor, and remount my shelf again before screwing in the last screw that secures my shelf. And we're done! This is how my new open shelves came out. I think they match pretty well with my dresser and the rest of the guest room as well. And this is how they look styled. I use them to store some of my favorite thrifted pottery and some decorative boxes and shopping bags where I keep my silk papers, ribbons, and other small miscellaneous crafting items. Thanks so much for watching this DIY video. I hope you learned how easily you can install shelves on any bare wall you have in your home that could use some storage. Open shelves are a bright and airy way to create more storage in your home and keep your stuff more organized. I hope this video inspires you to make your own custom shelves that fit your style and needs, whether it be bookshelves for your library, shelves in your pantry, or bedroom. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and while you're there, check out my other DIY videos. I'll see you again soon. Take care.